What is going on, GVTV? Welcome back to another episode of 10-Minute Misconduct After the Whistles hockey segment. I'm Kevin Lepper.
I'm Aaron Bowling.
I'm Aaron McClorey.
This one might be a little bit longer than 10 minutes here, fellas. Today was trade deadline day.
Might be you'd say, double 10-minute misconduct.
Double 10-minute misconduct.
An ejection, goalies fighting.
Yeah.
Coaches at the bench yelling at
all
each
of
other.
it.
Superstars asking to drop
Everything.
each other's gloves too.
I slept until noon today, and woke up and forgot it was trade deadline day, but then opened Twitter and was quickly reminded of that fact. So, lots to talk about today. Before we get into trade talk, let's talk about something that happened in the NHL you don't see too often the other night. So, Carolina versus Toronto, both goalies get hurt. So what happens? The emergency backup goalie has to come into the game. David Ayers, the 42-year-old Zamboni driver for the Toronto Marlies, strapped up the pads and came into play for the Hurricanes and held off the Leafs and won the game. Absolutely hilarious that the Leafs couldn't beat a 42-year-old Zamboni driver, but you love to see it. It's good.
Man,
it's good stuff.
This is great.
It's a great story. I mean, obviously the dude 80%.
Yeah.
He's almost caught Jimmy Howard's save percentage. Just throwing it out there.
He's got half the wins already.
Yeah.
One win away from tying Jimmy Howard.
So maybe Steve Yzerman 10-day contract. Oh, we don't have those.
Unfortunately.
No, so one thing, it's easy to make fun of the Leafs for this, but they're not the first team. The Winnipeg Jets lost to an accountant last year.
Yeah.
But he played well. I mean, obviously he won the game. He's never played an NHL game before. But you have to really credit the Carolina Hurricanes. He only faced 10 shots.
Mm-hmm.
And of those 10 shots, the two that went in, they were the first two shots in.
Yeah.
Didn't look like Toronto was going to have much trouble scoring, but he settled in the third period. And
Now, Peter Mrazek and James Reimer have to be thinking, where the hell's that defense when I'm playing? Like, come on.
Yeah.
But it's a thing that you can rally around just because
big time.
Hey, this Zamboni driver is in goal. We probably shouldn't be giving up too many shots from, circles. Because if you look at the shot chart that he faced, there was some decent scoring chances, but not like too many where you're like, oh, wow, what a spectacular save. They were all scoring chances where if he was in great position, the shot was going to hit him in the body, which credit to him. That's what you're supposed to do. And he did his job, got a win, got a shower.
Yeah.
Made us memories.
Mm-hmm.
Man, if this is going to happen to anybody, it would be the Leafs, though.
Yeah, that just makes it even funnier and brings a little bit more.
Man, I want to see
smile.
this franchise succeed. I really do.
The thing is, though, you think about it, though, he practices with the Leafs all the time because he's the Leafs building's emergency goalie.
That's true.
So how it works is like each team doesn't care they own emergency. It's basically how it works is each building has their own emergency.
Yeah.
That's why he came in for the
Doesn't
Hurricanes.
matter what team
Weird.
it's for.
It is.
You got to go in. You got to
So
go
he
in.
practices against them all the time. So maybe he had the scouting report.
True.
Little insider knowledge.
He had that inside intel. He knew all their moves before they made them. So.
Yeah, I know exactly what Austin Matthews is going to do. I'm like, Austin Matthews, defender.
Yeah, he's going to snipe. That's all he does.
Well, I'm going to catch his snipes.
He's always one step ahead. I love it. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. With that being said, let's get into trade deadline talk. What a day.
Oh, man.
Love it.
What
This
a
was
day.
great
There's
trade deadline.
so
much
much that happened today. Let's start off with the Detroit Red Wings. So as probably expected, Athanasiou is gone. Traded him off to Edmonton, back to Ken Holland for Ryan. With Ryan Kuffner was part of that deal. We got 2 second-round picks for him, and then Sam Gardner.
Gagne.
I can never. I'm really bad with names. My apologies.
It's literally just for salary purposes. Expiring contract, $3 million, just so Edmonton could fit Athanasiou in under the cap.
Interesting fact about Sam Gagne, though. He's tied for the most points in a game ever with, I think it was like Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah, Wayne Gretzky, probably Mario Lemieux.
No,
too.
it was Gordie Howe.
Jeez.
Good company.
Or I'm sorry, Bobby Hall.
Oh, my.
okay.
So it's them three all have 8 points in the same. Yeah, the guy we just traded for, Sam Gagne, scored 8 points in a game.
Yeah, hat trick and 5 assists.
Nope, wrong. 4 goals and 4 assists.
Wow.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Very nice.
It's insane. He's obviously not going to do that every night. I wouldn't even expect him to score 8 points for the Red Wings.
He's got 8 points all year, I believe.
Yeah, let's
4
go ahead.
goals and 4
Let's go
assists
ahead,
all year.
let's go ahead and temper those expectations.
Yeah.
He was a 4th liner in Edmonton that wasn't doing much anyway.
So probably a second liner in Detroit.
I mean, yeah. A very
Not
effective
wrong.
3rd liner in Detroit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of that trade?
I mean, I'm glad we at least got something back from Athanasiou instead of just letting him go in the offseason because I didn't trust re-signing him again.
Do you think we could have gotten more for him? Because I'm a little conflicted on this one because, granted, Athanasiou has not been having the best season. but last year he was our leading scorer, and I don't know if the return we got on him was what he was worth.
The thing about getting draft picks back in a trade is obviously you don't know. You don't know who you're going to get with that pick. Who knows? Maybe we get the next Tyler Bertuzzi, just a second-round player that we take a shot on that makes our roster.
And who knows? We could get Nikita Kucherov in the second round too.
Yeah.
It's very possible.
We all know that Stevie Y knows how to draft.
Yzerman found Kucherov in round 2.
So
round 2.
organizationally, this goes beyond Steve Yzerman because even Ken Holland's last few years, we've drafted really well in the second round. Mm-hmm. That's a lot to do with the scouts, and we have a lot of the same scouting department. Plus, this year's draft is super deep. A lot of the second rounders this year that are going to go early second round will probably be first rounders, and there's a couple that may even be lottery picks in most drafts. But this draft is incredibly deep. We talk about this draft all the time.
Yeah.
With Lafreniere, Stetzel, Raymond, and Byfield.
That's why I was so shocked to see so many first rounders get traded.
Yeah, me too.
Man, so.
But I like it because it gives us an extra pick this year, and it gives us an extra pick next year too.
I'm just kind of. And Edmonton said they weren't going to trade a first round pick. Ken Holland is seemingly learning from his mistakes.
Yeah. This is a good time for him to get a little stingy with the draft picks now, huh?
Exactly.
Did he learn his lesson?
Well, I guess he
look at what is essentially a wasteland in Detroit and be like, let's not do that again.
Exactly. And I mean, honestly, Andreas Athanasiou, what a perfect fit with Connor McDavid.
They're gonna be. That's gonna be fun to watch.
That's a speedy duo. Now McDavid has somebody to run with.
Connor McDavid's gonna love it.
Oh yeah. Imagine a 2-on-1 stopping those guys.
That's gonna be dangerous. They're gonna be real dangerous.
Even Leon Draisaitl can't skate like that.
Yeah. So you have to take into consideration, guys. Anthony C is going to put up numbers because he's next to Connor McDavid. No matter what happens, this probably isn't a loss for the Red Wings because unless if they go out and blow these 2 draft picks, which I don't foresee them doing.
Yeah, no. Yzerman has a history of drafting really well.
Yeah, they'll get something in return for him, but you have to understand he's probably going to score 25 on the low end with Connor McDavid because he's playing with Connor McDavid.
I mean, I've seen Connor McDavid drag James Neal to however many goals he's got this year, and James Neal can't move.
Yeah.
So. With Athanasiou, I wouldn't be shocked to see Athanasiou hit 40 goals.
I was saying 25 on the low end.
Yeah.
If he had a full season with Connor McDavid, 40 goals.
Mm-hmm. But let's be honest, he didn't fit into what Yzerman wanted to do.
Oh, yeah, no way.
No.
Especially with the holdout he had last time.
And then you've also got to pay both Mantha and Bertuzzi this offseason. You've also got the Fabry decision. You got to get another goalie. There's just too many other mouths to feed, and Athanasiou's a fit. Better in Edmonton anyway.
Yeah, that's true. Definitely. We saw this one coming.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not like it's not.
And I mean, we've
Mm-hmm.
even been saying Athanasiou to Edmonton specifically.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to see it for both sides all year, so love to see it.
We were talking about before we shoot. It's going to be weird seeing Athanasiou in a different jersey though, because we've only seen him in a Red Wings jersey. So number 28 for the Edmonton Oilers.
So move back one number. You've also got number 27 for the Edmonton Oilers, also coming from Detroit.
Yep.
This came at 1 in the morning-ish. This trade was announced. Mike Green for a 4th-round pick and Kyle Brudjak's contract. And he's not going to play. He's already retired. But salary filler to make that work. And a 4th-round pick for Mike Green, which could become a 3rd-round pick in 2021 if Edmonton makes the Western Conference Finals this season.
And he plays in 50% of the games.
Yeah, which I see no reason why he can't.
Yeah.
Unless, something horrible happens, which, please don't. I love you, Mike Green. I really do.
I like this. I mean, it's getting something for an aging defenseman. Mike Green's a fantastic fit here.
Oh, yeah, and a 34-year-old expiring contract who wasn't doing squat in Detroit.
And honestly, that's not really on him.
Oh, at all. No, I don't blame him one bit.
The Wings don't have anyone that play a style of game. So Mike Green is a fantastic puck-moving defenseman. What he does really well is he gets the puck out of the zone. Now imagine him chipping that puck out of the zone to Connor McDavid, who's on a rush with Andreas Athanasiou.
And then you've got
or Leon Draisaitl.
And then you've got one defender back to cover both McDavid and Athanasiou.
Yeah.
No, you're screwed.
I wouldn't be shocked if he scores as many points in the 20 games with the Edmonton Oilers as he did with the Red Wings.
Yeah, because in 50 games he's got 11 points.
He could definitely touch 11.
You think? Yeah, he could definitely get 12 points in 20 games, even 12 assists straight up. He doesn't even have to get a goal.
Yeah. Plus he's great because they don't really have a power play defenseman with Oscar Klefbom out. I think Mike Green's probably a little better offensively than Klefbom anyways.
Klefbom moves the puck really well, but they needed someone to do that.
So
better.
now they have a not a point guard, a quarterback on the power play.
Because you can probably play Mike Green with Darnell Nurse and get away with it because Nurse plays defense pretty well.
Yeah, I like that pairing. But even if this turns into the conditional third rounder next year, I mean.
And it's very possible because looking at the Pacific,
Yeah.
like Edmonton versus Vancouver, I trust Edmonton in that matchup 100%. And Edmonton versus Vegas, I don't know. Vegas got better in this deadline as well, but if Edmonton makes the Western Conference Finals, it wouldn't shock me.
It's quite possible.
Especially like,
Yeah.
you know, with McDavid, with Draisaitl, and like Draisaitl's line's been great. Like without McDavid entirely, like Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins, Yamamoto, it's been fantastic. And now that McDavid has a running mate, that top six is deadly all of a sudden.
And also, if you're Detroit, too, you got to think about this. Like, you're getting a third-round pick possibly for someone who we didn't even know if he was going to play this year because of that infection.
Oh, yeah, that was bad.
And, like, he had to end last year early. And the year before that, right before the trade deadline, his neck. I mean, this is kind of a win just because you got something out of him. I mean, look at Trevor Daley. Trevor Daley requested a trade. And I'm pretty sure if Steve Yzerman picked up the phone and called people and were like, hey, Trevor Daley, they hung up.
They were like, Stevie, as much respect as we have for you, nah, shove it.
Yeah.
Because Trevor Daley's been a nightmare this season.
The one wing that I'm kind of curious, like if they receive phone calls on, is Luke Glendening.
Yeah.
He's not going to be that high end, score you 20, but I mean he gets about 10 goals a year, which
And at $1.8 million a year.
yeah, he's a penalty killer. He's fantastic on faceoffs, which have been great for a team like Colorado, who is really poor on faceoffs.
Granted, Colorado did get something there, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah, but I wonder what Glendening could have got, because there are role players that were going for ridiculous amounts of stock.
Oh my!
We'll get to that later too.
Yes, we will.
We're gonna laugh at.
We're gonna roast
Steve Yzerman's former team.
Roast somebody. Yes.
Yeah.
So with that, let's get into some of the winners and losers that we think won or lost this trade deadline.
Let's go winners first. Like
Winners
positivity.
first. Yeah. Let's start off on a high note here.
All right.
Aaron, what do you got for us?
So my winner is, we're gonna go with the New York Islanders. So this one, I mean, when it first came out, I did not like this trade at all. So they got J.G. Pajot, who's having a career year. So they got him for a first rounder, a second rounder, and a conditional third rounder. But they also re-signed him to 6 years, I think $5 million.
6 years, yeah, $5 million, maybe like 5.2, but 6 years and $5 million, something along those lines.
But he slots in as their third line center behind Matthew Barzal and Brock Nelson. He can score goals. He has 20 goals this year. That may not be his role with the Islanders because he's not going to get as many opportunities to score like on the power play. But he can score goals. He can play defense. He can kill penalties. He's a Swiss Army knife. He's a better, for the Red Wings fan, he's a more skilled Luke Glendening.
And I mean, if
Who's
you're putting
younger.
that in your third line center, boom, that's exactly what you want.
And I really like that trade.
The Islanders could use a score. Like, if he's going to score, the Islanders aren't going to complain about that either.
Then they're also winners because of one trade they didn't make that was originally rumored, was them picking up Zach Parise.
And that contract.
Whew, it's a nightmare.
Yeah, wipe the spread off your brow there. The New York Islanders also got defenseman Andy Green from the New Jersey Devils.
Yep, that's a good one too.
For 2021 second-round pick and defensive prospect David Quenneville. So I don't really know much about Andy Green, but
Andy Green's a steady defenseman. He's been a steady defenseman for the New Jersey Devils for a while. He was their captain. A second-round pick is probably good for him because he'll bring that defensive presence, and that's the game that the Islanders want to play under Lou Lamoriello and Barry Trotz. I like that pick too, but they're my winners because of the J.G. Pajot, getting him for the next 6 years at $5 million.
like if that was an expiring contract, it'd be really questionable.
It was an expiring contract, but because they re-signed him, it definitely.
Like if he was just going to be gone.
Yeah, it definitely helps.
Right on. So, any other specific winners for you? You want me to go with this?
We'll circle back.
All right. So, I feel like I've already really talked about how Edmonton was a winner with this Andreas Athanasiou and Mike Green thing because, Connor McDavid fits perfectly with Athanasiou. So, I'm going to put Edmonton there, but I'm also going to talk about the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yep.
They got 4 very useful assets. Like, I don't know if you really want to say Jason Zucker was a trade deadline deal because they did it 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Traded away a first-round pick and a defensive prospect for Jason Zucker. I'm not going to go ahead and scroll all the way down and find out who he was because I forgot who he was. But apparently it was Pittsburgh's best prospect, and Crosby makes all of his wingers better.
Yeah,
So
and
that's
plus they have year left on, or they have term left on the
3
contract.
years left, I
Yeah.
believe, after this. If it's not, then it's 2. And Pittsburgh also traded a third-round pick to the San Jose Sharks for Patrick Marleau, the legend himself.
experience.
Oh yeah, like you can put him like even on the third line. You can never have too much leadership.
Yeah.
And hopefully he gets a cup. Has he gotten one yet?
No.
I don't believe so.
You say hopefully he gets a cup, but he's also on the Pittsburgh Penguins, so hopefully he doesn't.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Yeah.
Hopefully
Don't
only
really
he
want to
wins the
see
cup.
him win
I
another
agree
cup.
with you.
Yeah,
And
just him,
Pittsburgh
nobody
also
else.
got a former Pittsburgh Penguin player. They got him back from the Buffalo Sabres, Connor Sheary, who I think he's going to play right next to Crosby on that first line.
I don't think so.
Really? You don't think so?
I think he's gonna slot into the third right wing.
Really?
Yep.
All right. I mean, it makes sense. I just figured you'd play Crosby next to Zucker and Connor Sheary. But, I mean, it makes sense either way because Pittsburgh, pretty stacked in terms of that forward group right now. I mean, Patrick Marleau, Patrick Hornquist, Evgeny Malkin.
Yeah.
And if they get any bit of Jake Gensel, then Pittsburgh, it's going to be really tough to stop in the playoffs. So, yeah, Pittsburgh is my winner because they gave up a first-round pick and what could be a second-round pick if they win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah. Another very underrated aspect of that trade is Evan Rodriguez, who's a fourth-line grinder who's going to probably be their fourth-line right winger. And he's really good at it.
as well.
Yep. He's a really good I'd say he's a decent face-off guy. I wouldn't say he's like
You could trust
the
him on
class.
face-off.
Yeah.
And they only got him for Dominic Cahoon. I don't really understand that.
Probably just a one-for-one, like, hey, he's not producing. Maybe if he gets a change of scenery.
You get Connor Sheary and Evan Rodriguez for Dominic Cahoon. I don't understand what the Buffalo Sabres were doing there.
Probably.
But, I mean, I know Rodriguez, he asked for a trade a while ago. And Connor Sheary, I mean, you just kind of throw him in there because he knows Crosby.
Yeah.
My winner for this trade deadline is I agree with both of you guys, but Ottawa Senators for the sole reason of draft picks because they got quite a few draft picks out of this trade deadline. We mentioned before with the Padjo trade, they got the first rounder, second rounder, third rounder. They also got a fourth and a fifth rounder this trade deadline, if I believe. So they're looking pretty good for draft picks wise.
Yeah, they traded away Vladislav Domestikov to the Colorado Avalanche, and they also traded away Tyler Ennis to the Edmonton Oilers for a fifth-round pick. So, again, another thing Edmonton did to win there, like, if you can play him next to McDavid at all, you're going to make him a whole lot better than he actually is.
Yeah. So
and even then, that's just a third-line experienced guy if you don't put him there.
Ottawa's 3 first-round picks this year because the Islanders aren't a lock for the playoffs. They're by no means in and sitting comfortable.
Although that pick is top 3 protected, but
if they don't get in, they're going to be like
12.
2.5%. So Ottawa has a chance to pick. So at worst, their first pick right now is going to be sitting sixth. No, because they're third overall right now, or third worst right now.
Yep.
Their second pick is going to be sitting at 8th at worst. And then that pick is obviously wherever the Islanders finish. So if the Islanders don't make the playoffs, that's 3 separate opportunities to win the lottery.
Well, granted, if the Islanders pick do win the lottery, that's going to go back to the New York Islanders.
That's
which
true.
Would be painful to see that.
That'd be hard.
But granted, that's a conditional pick, so it'd be a 2021 first-round pick, completely unprotected. But still, you'd never ever want to see
it's
that.
It's a lot. Another team that I want to touch on is Carolina Hurricanes.
They were busy today.
They were. They got
very busy.
They got Brady Shea, Sammy Vatanen, Brady Shea of the New York Rangers, or formerly of the New York Rangers.
For a first-round pick.
First-round pick, but Shea's got 3 years left on his deal?
4, I believe.
4. Yeah, 4. Okay. Then they got Sammy Vatanen.
And I'm trying to see what they got for. They sent away 4 Vatanen.
Solid D-man. I think it was a third. Solid D-man. It was a third. Then they got Vinny Trocheck from the Florida Panthers.
Yeah, for 4 different players. They got him for, I believe, Eric Haula.
Unfortunately, I had to get rid of Eric Haula, who's
Eric Haula, Lucas Walmark, Eetu Lutos Starinen, and Chase Prisco.
So the last 2 are prospects.
Yep.
Lucas Walmark's a third liner, but Vinny Trocheck, I think he's been hurt for most of the season, but he scored 30 goals in a season before. And they have him next year as well. So not only does that add offensive punch for this year, but it's going to add some punch next year. And I really like getting Brady Shea and Sammy Vatanen because they needed to replace Dougie Hamilton.
Oh, yeah.
Dougie Hamilton was playing like a man possessed before he got hurt.
And even with Dougie Hamilton, you probably needed another defensive body, so I love him getting both Vatanen and Shea.
Yeah, and obviously if you don't want to pay Vatanen, you don't have to. He's a UFA after the end of the year, and he walks.
And then you can just hope Dougie Hamilton comes in and replaces that. So it makes sense. Losers.
Yeah.
Any specific losers?
I'll get us started off here. The Toronto Maple Leafs, because here we have a team that probably should have done more than they did today.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah. Granted, cap space and everything.
They just made AHL moves, though. They made AHL and bottom of the roster moves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's you were kind of expecting them to do a little more than they did today.
Especially because the Leafs fan base they're up in arms right now. They're not happy with what's going on.
Yeah.
So you'd expect them to make some sort of change, whether it be because there were plenty of rumors about Tyson Barrie getting shipped out. I don't know what you would have gotten for him, especially at the 11th hour like this. Mm-hmm. But it seems like you just needed to make some sort of change.
He's going to walk for free now.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't really know what Toronto even could have done, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. But it seems like, they should have just something to change.
I don't see Kyle Dubas, the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs, having a job much longer.
No, and especially if they miss the playoffs because, Florida – I'll talk about Florida in a second, but Florida's right behind them, and then Buffalo, they just made a move to try and get in the playoffs as well. So if Toronto doesn't want that playoff spot, you've got 3 teams right behind you that are nipping at your heels.
Well, in the old playoff system, they're sitting in 9th right now.
Yeah.
Their only saving grace is this not weird, but is the new format, which we've talked about extensively. We need to get rid of it because it's crap.
Yeah, because it's the top 3 in the division, in each division, and then 2 wild cards. But you've got literally 6 teams in the Metro that are looking fantastic right now, but only 2 teams in the Atlantic that care about anything.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that 3rd playoff spot in the Atlantic right now. Toronto's only got it by proxy.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. And the only move Toronto really made was trading away Michael Hutchinson, who they put on waivers a while ago and just reacquired, for Calle Rosen, who they traded away in the summer already. This is a bottom pair defenseman at the best for your backup goaltender. I get you needed more defensive bodies, and you do, but come on, Toronto. You've got to do better than that because you're just going to get blown out in the first round by Boston or Tampa Bay again if this is the case.
Yeah.
I hope it is Boston at this rate. Because just do something different, Toronto. Come on. This whole mindset of we're going to keep everyone together, you can't always do that. They're just keeping everyone together. Now there's cap problems, and this team's just not constructed well.
No, they're not. Who's your loser?
My loser? Oh, man, I just went in on Toronto. My loser is – I've gone back and forth with this. I wanted to say Columbus because they really didn't do anything, but they've given away a ton of draft picks, so maybe it's not a bad move that they didn't trade anything. I'm going to go with the Florida Panthers because this is a team that's been dead in the water for a while. There's just a whole lot of nothing with this team outside of Huberdeau and Barkov. Keith Yandel's good. The defense is good. They just signed Sergei Bobrovsky, who has underperformed on that $10 million a year contract. There's rumors that they were going to go out and get a defenseman, and they traded away Vinny Trocheck for 2 legitimate players and 2 prospects. Sure, great. You traded away Dennis Mulligan for Mason Marchment, I believe, from the Toronto Maple Leafs. Let me check real quick. Yeah, Mason Marchment. That's who it was. Who is a forward, bottom-level forward. Florida, I don't understand what they're doing because they've got enough cap space. They needed to improve the defense. They're 2 points behind Toronto, who has no interest in playing in the playoffs right now. Come on, Florida. Tampa just got upset last season. Boston has a whole lot of playoff loss, Boston has a whole ton of overtime losses. You can do something in the first round. You haven't won a playoff series since 1996. Just get in and something can happen.
I disagree with you. I don't think they're losers. I think what they did is they shook up their roster. They needed a shakeup, and that's what they did. They got 4 players back for 1 player, Vinny Trocheck, who has been underperforming. Arguably, if he performs to what he can be, they're in the playoffs right now. So getting Eric Halla, new change of scenery, new face, maybe he plays well with, Barkov or Huberdeau. Just getting different players in there is sending a message to the roster to be like, hey, we need to wake up, let's go. So I think by them getting 4 players back in the Trocheck trade, I don't think that they're losers because those 4 players could all become very productive.
That's true. And especially long term, I think that's a good deal. I just don't like it this year because you can just go for it. You can make the playoffs because Toronto doesn't want that spot, and Buffalo and Montreal, they're not good, quite frankly. Montreal especially, I don't trust. But
so my loser, I've gone back and forth on this. I wanted to say the Capitals because one of their trades I absolutely cannot stand. But I'm going to do you one different. Going to Winnipeg.
Oh, Winnipeg.
Winnipeg traded for Cody Eakins and did nothing else.
Well, Dylan DeMello from Ottawa.
Okay. They got Dylan DeMello from Ottawa,
They got Dylan DeMello and Cody Eakin for a 3rd-round pick and a 4th-round pick.
Yeah. Okay, they didn't give up much, so they'll have it for next year. But they're only 3 points out of the playoffs.
Especially when Arizona and Calgary look dead in the water.
And they've also both played 2 more games than every other team. Arizona is at 65 games. Well, most teams are at 61. And Calgary's at 63. I don't like what Winnipeg did. I mean, as much as I don't like what the Capitals did, I'll get into that in a second. I don't like them standing pat. I don't think Patrick Laine is going to stick around for the long term.
Because 2-year, $13 million contract. That's what it was.
I don't think he's sticking around. There's been rumors about them trying to trade Kyle Connors in this upcoming offseason.
And they just signed him to a 7-year contract. This is the first year of that deal.
Yeah. You need to do something, or else you're going to lose all these players. And it's not like people are sticking around Winnipeg for, the atmosphere in Winnipeg.
Yeah, this is the Minnesota of Canada.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Like Winnipeg and Minnesota are very close to each other. And
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be in either of those places, to be honest.
Yeah, so my loser's got to be Winnipeg.
And then,
Interesting.
Yeah, we'll get into the other one in a second. So,
All right, well, that covers winners and losers.
do you question, what moves are you questioning?
so
Big time.
I'm questioning Colorado not taking a goalie. I don't like that. I think your window's starting to open up. You need someone in that. Philip Grubauer's not it.
Well, granted, they did get a goalie, but it's a backup third
Yeah,
goalie.
okay. You want Michael Hutchinson, who hasn't won a game.
Michael Hutchinson, who's been bad for the Maple Leafs.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
hey, it's a better defense in Colorado, so.
But that's not solving your problem.
Oh, I agree.
I didn't necessarily want them to go out and get Carey Price, but Robin Leonard, for this year, if you can get him for even a 2nd-round pick. That's what Vegas got him for.
That's what Vegas did. 2nd-round pick and some prospect. I don't remember.
And it wasn't even a high-level prospect.
Yeah, really.
I don't like them standing pat. I feel like Philip Grubauer is going to probably be the downfall of the Colorado Avalanche in the playoffs, because think about who their 2nd-round matchup is looming. Their 1st-round matchup is probably Dallas. Mm-hmm. If they don't win the division and they don't get a chance to play one of the teams in the Pacific that's battling it out for the last 2 spots, they're gonna play Dallas. And what does Dallas have that they don't?
Goaltending.
Ben
Great,
Bishop,
one of the best goaltenders in the league.
probably the Vezina winner.
Yeah, my vote.
So you're gonna get into trying to get in these high-scoring games. You're not gonna be able to score 6 goals every night on the Dallas defense either.
Exactly.
Because it's not like their defense are schlubs either. So you don't have a goalie who can, you give up 2-3 goals. That could be the difference between you winning a series or losing a series. And I don't think Philip Grubauer is going to help.
Yeah, that's true. You could have gotten Robin Leonard for sure. Other than Robin Leonard, I don't know what you get. And I don't know if, because Chicago traded him within the division anyway. So,
yeah.
Because Vegas is in division, but.
No, they're not.
No.
Vegas Pacific.
Oh, Vegas is. Yeah, maybe that is why.
But that doesn't matter when you're rebuilding.
I don't know. Some teams.
I don't understand.
Some teams build by that.
I don't understand your philosophy of don't trade him within the division when he's going to be a UFA anyways.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying here. If it's a long-term contract, I get that. But
I still
UFA, just it's a grudge.
Yeah.
Don't help teams within your division. Some GMs follow that rule. Some teams don't. I did like Colorado trading for Vladislav Nemestikov. However,
Yeah.
good penalty kill body.
Because they need it.
They need good face-off guy, because their penalty kill has been a nightmare this year. They just need somebody to win face-offs on that power play, because McKinnon's not great at it. Mm-hmm. And, Mikko Rantanen's out for 8 to 10 weeks, so you just need another body on the wings, too.
Mm-hmm. Another questionable trade today. Kovalchuk's a Capital now.
Yeah.
He's a Washington Capital.
I was not a big fan of that one.
I saw that, and I'm like, really? A 3rd-round pick? Because I texted Aaron, and he was like, why? And he thought I was just being hypothetical, but no, that was the actual trade that happened.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Which, good for Montreal, I guess, but
Free guy for a 3rd. I mean,
Yeah.
free 3rd-round pick.
Mm-hmm.
But in Washington, he better be a good 3rd-line scorer if this is going to work. Unless you're going to play him next, because if you play him next to Ovechkin,
I think his defense is going to get him scratched in the playoffs.
That's what I'm saying. This is asking to be a nightmare, because he wasn't that great in LA. There were times in Montreal where it was like, okay, why is this guy on the ice?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But he was only scoring because nobody else in Montreal is scoring either.
Yeah.
Whereas Washington, everybody else is scoring.
Mm-hmm. I wasn't expecting Washington to be the place where he ended up.
No,
It
definitely
caught me
not.
off guard.
So what does Kovalchuk consider? Kovalchuk's considered a sniper, really good on the power play. But I mean, the Capitals already have someone who's pretty darn good on the power play.
That's true.
I mean, he's only got 700 career goals, which
Their entire power play strategy is pass this guy the puck.
yeah, we probably should have let off with Alexander Ovechkin scored a 700 career goal this weekend. Not a big deal. I mean, I guess.
No, I mean it's just another thing
He's
that
only the
happens
8th
all the
player
time.
ever to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah, see,
it's
everybody
not
does
a
it.
big deal.
Yeah,
or
no.
anything.
Yeah, but see, Kovalchuk, like, what's he gonna do? Like, maybe he's offhanded, so he'll be on the other side. But I don't see this helping them very much.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's not going to work on the first line because Kovalchuk and Ovechkin on defense.
If you break up that first line to put Kovalchuk, Todd Reardon should be fired.
Yeah, you should.
That is a fireable offense.
And that second line too. The top 6 in Washington don't mess with that.
Kovalchuk, if he plays, is going to get like 6 minutes a night, and they're all going to be power play minutes. Because he's a defensive liability, and on a decent team that's, playing playoff hockey. When's the last time Kovalchuk played playoff hockey in the NHL?
Did he even
I can't remember.
Keyword,
Devils?
maybe never.
Did he play with the Devils in the playoffs?
Like one series, but then he bolted for the KHL.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't like that trade. Anything else you guys want to bring up?
I did like the Capitals getting Brendan Dillon.
That's a great trade. That's what saved them from being my losers. I love Brendan Dillon's game. Let's go over the toughness roster for the Capitals. Say it with me, Tom Wilson.
Big bad Tom Wilson.
Say it with me, Radko Gudas. Oof. Ooh, man. Now Brendan Dillon.
Yep.
Yeah.
They got their tough guys now.
Yeah.
They,
Good luck. Have fun. You're going to
don't-
get punched in the mouth
Yeah.
a lot.
And Ovechkin can drop gloves too, as Andrei Svechnikov found out.
Yeah, but
you don't want him doing that
No.
ever, but
Don't look at any Capitals players the wrong way, or you might just get your career ended.
It'd be kind of a shame if Ovechkin broke his hand on, Sidney Crosby's face.
Friendly reminder that Sidney Crosby once told Alex Ovechkin to go fight Jamie Oleksiak. He's like, "Why don't you go fight him?" And then Ovechkin's like, "Why don't you fight me?" And if Crosby and Ovechkin dropped the gloves, can you imagine the press that would get?
Legend.
That'd be
man.
yeah. That'd go down in the books.
Now, one team that I do want to talk about that probably could be considered a loser, although they're not going to be considered a loser right away, is the Tampa Bay Lightning, because they gave up a lot for probably not enough, let's say. Barclay Goodrow, who you didn't even know his name.
No.
The San Jose Sharks gave up a first-round pick for Barclay Goodrow. The San Jose Sharks Game 7 hero against the Vegas Golden Knights. Hero. He scored the overtime game-winning goal, but that's because he's a fourth-line player who didn't play at all in overtime and was a fresh body and is just faster than everybody else. They gave up a first-round pick.
It's insane.
What are you doing? Tampa had 2 first-round picks. They had one from Vancouver in the JT Miller trade, and they had their own.
Yep.
They
They gave up both.
in overpays. They overpaid to get rid of them both.
All this shows to me is that Tampa feels like their window's probably closing, and they're going all in this year.
But
Which,
you could have gotten Goodrow for your own third-round pick, you'd feel like.
yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what this is like.
But this is Tampa's GM just saying, hey, let's go. We got to do this. I mean, granted, they have Stamkos and Kucherov under contract for a while, but they're going to have to start paying those secondary scorers like the Andre Palats.
Yeah, that's true. And Victor Hedman is
Victor
he's
Hedman,
under
yep.
contract.
So-
Ryan McDonough's under a contract for a while, too.
Yeah. They're gonna have to start paying the younger talent coming up, and I think this may not be their last shot at winning a cup, but this is probably their best shot at winning a cup.
That's true.
They have to go in this year.
I guess I'm just not a fan of them giving up a possible first-round pick when it's
I'm not either.
In this draft. And if you get a good player on a cheap contract for 3 years, that's huge.
Yeah, especially
Huge.
if you're in a cap crunch.
Yeah. So I don't like this at all, giving that up for Blake Coleman, who's having admittedly a career year.
But he only scores. He doesn't get assists.
Yeah. And third-line center, you want him to play. Maybe he can play defense. I'm not 100% sure. But Barclay Goodrow for a first-round pick.
Yeah.
I mean, the San Jose Sharks have to be dancing in the streets about this.
Oh, especially because they didn't have a first-round pick.
Yeah, because, San Jose looked awful for trading away their first-round pick for Carlson this year.
Yep. I mean, they still look awful, don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah, they definitely do. And, moving from the possible first overall pick down to, the 25th overall pick at worst is not a good look.
No.
But Tampa, come on, man.
What are you doing?
You could have done so much better. And they also signed Zach Bogosian for nothing.
I do like that pick, or that pickup.
Yeah, for doing that for free, essentially. But,
Well,
yeah,
boys.
there's two teams that stood pat that we didn't like either.
Columbus, I feel like I understand why Columbus stood pat because they weren't supposed to be good this year.
That's true.
They've had a lot of injuries. Their starting goalie, Jonas Corposello, I don't know why I said Solo. Han Solo's nephew.
You've also got
Corposello.
I don't know how to say his first name, but Merzlinkus is his last name.
Elvis Merzliklis.
Elvis. Is it
Yeah.
Elvis?
Yeah, it is Elvis.
Okay.
Yep.
So you have a really good goaltending tandem, and
And a
obviously
great coach,
Yeah.
honestly.
So they're way ahead of schedule. So are the Rangers right now, but that's because Shesterkin, he was playing out of his mind too, but unfortunately he got hurt. I understand why they did, but I would have liked to see them pick up a little offensive punch.
That's true.
A little selfishly, I mean, AA for, Elvis Merzliklis and like a second-round pick would have been.
That would have been really cool.
I mean, it probably would have been an overpay, but
yeah, I don't blame Columbus for not doing it now that I'm thinking about it. 'Cause
Yeah.
Seth Jones is probably out for the season, which sucks. I love him.
yeah, it's just not the year this year. They'll come back better next year.
And then you've got Cam Atkinson and Olivier Bjorkstrand. Both those guys are out long term. It's like, man, Columbus is just getting hit hard by this bug. Sucks, man.
Yeah.
Because they look better than they did last year, honestly, which is weird because Panarin would be great on this team. But, yeah.
Well, boys, trade deadline's over. Trade deadline show's almost over.
Yes.
Most teams have 20 games left, and it's playoffs.
Is there any trade that you think should have happened that didn't?
Tom Tatar, Montreal should have traded Tom Tatar to somewhere.
Colorado.
Colorado.
Is
I
immediately
think
what
that
I
would have been, and they would have had to give up one of their defensemen. And
That's true. But granted, if Bergevin can get a first-round pick for Tomas Tatar, just straight up a first-round pick, is he going to say no?
Probably. Because he traded away Max Pacioretty and a first-round pick for him. Or, I'm sorry, no, he traded away Max Pacioretty.
And got Nick Suzuki.
Got Nick Suzuki for him.
So
I don't think so. I think he gets a couple picks out of it or something because you have term left. If there was
Next
no
year,
term
yeah.
left, then.
Yeah, that's why I thought Tatar was perfect for Colorado because he
Yeah.
doesn't mess with their long-term cap situation, but he fits almost perfectly.
Bergevin had himself a good week, though.
Oh, yeah. Like, as much as I dog on him, and I dog on him a lot.
Kovalchuk got a third. They didn't pay him nothing.
Yeah, and, like,
Marco Scandella.
who they got for a fourth-round pick, they flipped him for a second.
That's insane. It's a great deal.
Yeah, and I mean...
Probably saved his job, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah, and you're getting rightfully dogged for that Carey Price contract, but at the same time, you couldn't just let Carey walk.
At the time, if you wouldn't have signed him to it, you would have
you
gotten
fired him immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, he's in a no-win situation there. But anything else you guys want to add?
I got nothing.
I got nothing.
Season's winding down. Playoffs quickly approaching. That's going to be interesting.
Oh, real quick, do you guys have a dream playoff matchup besides the Battle of Alberta?
If Buffalo makes it in, I actually have a few. If Buffalo makes it in, they make it to the finals. Edmonton-Buffalo.
Oh, man.
The
If
1-2,
Edmonton, Buffalo.
Connor McDavid, Jack Eichel.
Eichel versus
Yeah.
McDavid would be sick.
That'd be
Absolutely
cool.
sick. I'd also love to see Nashville versus St. Louis if Nashville makes the final wildcard spot. I think that'd be whack because just those two teams are both just crazy right now because you know St. Louis is going to be hot fire for a
Yeah.
Stanley Cup run again, and Nashville, they love the Predators.
We'll get into more playoff speculation in the coming episodes. That's going to do it for this week's episode of not 10-minute misconduct because I think we went a little over, a little bit over the
I think-
10-minute mark.
We'll call it the trade deadline special.
Yeah.
This may be a game misconduct.
Yeah.
No, you got ejected? Come
Yeah.
on, man. Just don't get suspended.
Yeah, way to go, Zach Cassian.
Don't kick it.
I'm Kevin Lepper.
I'm Aaron Poling.
I'm Aaron McClorey.
Thanks
Go Oilers.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.